I'm convinced that while virtually everyone you're ever going to meet, they will tell you that they want to do something great with their life. They'll tell you that they've got big dreams, they've got plans, and they're going to make it happen. But they can't take criticism. They're not willing to look at what they're doing wrong. They're not willing to admit that everything is their fault, but it's just a frame of reference. And if they would change that frame of reference, it would change everything. And as Tim Grover said, the only difference between feedback and criticism is how you hear it. Understanding the brain, understanding how we process data, understanding the way that ideas get into your mind and cause a chain reaction of emotions. If you can't figure that out and rise above it and not become a victim of your emotions, not become a victim to people saying something that knock you off your confidence, that make you feel insecure, that actually cripple your ability to perform because of how you have decided to hear something. And that moment of awakening, that breakthrough, that is the realization that you decide what to focus on. You decide what to hear and what to take away from something. Somebody can assail you, they can attack you, they can victimize you. But it's a choice as to whether or not you play the victim. As Winston Churchill said, criticism may not be agreeable, but it's necessary. It fulfills the same function as pain in the human body. It calls attention to an unhealthy state of things. In the pursuit of greatness, people are still trying to avoid pain. But if you really want to do something, if you really want to become somebody, then you've got to run headlong into pain. You've got to be looking for those things that make you suffer. You've got to seek out the pain. You've got to seek out the things that make you uncomfortable. You've got to want to hit that difficulty, because it is in those moments, it is in that bit of suffering, it is in seeing what you are not good at that is going to allow you to become great. And if you have to let it fill you with rage, to really stand in anguish in order to force yourself to move, then stand in it. Do whatever you need to do in order to reach your goals. And if that's the motivation that you need, then embrace it and chase it. As Tony Robbins said, the purpose of pain is to move us into action. It's not to make us suffer. So in that anguish, in the excruciating pain, find no suffering. See the joy in it. Welcome it like an old friend. And the day that you can welcome your pain like an old friend, because you know, like a friend, it is taking you where you need to go, it is spurring you into action, it is pushing you to become something. And the process of rebirth, my friends, hurts. But whether you choose to suffer or not is your choice. Everyone takes the limits of their own vision for the limits of the world. Arthur Schopenhauer. There is all around you right now the reflections of your world belief. They're so ever present that you don't even see them. All the assumption that you've made about the world, the things that are possible, what you're capable of, who you are, the very definition of what it means to be alive, all of it is completely invisible. And you're mistaking what you have for what could be. And once you break free of that, once you understand that right now you're a moment in time and that you have latent potential, and that latent potential can be expressed in the form of skills, that you can get good at things, that you can develop yourself in any direction, that brain plasticity alone is one of the greatest weapons that you're not using. But you have to move beyond what you can perceive today. You have to begin to look beyond that and see that which doesn't yet exist. And you have to remember that many of the things that are holding you down are rules that you don't even realize are rules. And as General Douglas MacArthur said, you're remembered for the rules you break. And right now, you're following rules that you don't even realize exist. And some of those rules are simply what is okay to dream. But I'm here to tell you, the power is in recognizing that you can do it. The power is in having the arrogance of belief. The power is in understanding that you, yes, you are going to be capable of something simply because you are willing to believe in yourself. And that's the thing, it's a willingness to believe in yourself. No one's going to give it to you. Even the people that love you, they're not going to give you that. They are incapable of giving it to you. People cannot see past their limitations, and they take them for truth. People actually believe the things that have stopped them will forever not only stop them, but they will stop other people. How can they hope to give you anything but limitation? So if you know that even the people that love you, what they're handing you is limitation with the best of fucking intentions, with all the love in the world, how are you going to break out of that? How are you going to break past those rules? How are you going to fight the anxiety that inevitably comes your way when you think about going against the grain? But my friends, until you can do that, you can never get beyond the bullshit that limits you. If people said gravity is what it is, we never would have reached escape velocity. And yet, as a species, we have been able to hurl a fucking rocket into space, get it outside of gravity, take us to other planets. That is real only because somebody said, I refuse to be held down by the most obvious rule that we have, the one that everybody says is beyond reproach, and that is gravity. But even gravity will break under the weight of a superior will. So recognize, as Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Can you be content to be thought foolish and stupid? Or do you allow yourself to be caged, to be hemmed in by what other people think? And look, I get it. I understand the sting of contempt. I understand how much it sucks when someone you respect doesn't respect you. But you cannot be anything more than their captive if you think about what they think about you. If you let yourself be defined by what other people perceive of as you, then you will forever be limited by what they give you permission to do. You have to decide what you want more. Do you want to be you, or do you want to be someone else's reflection of you? As John F. Kennedy said, there are risks and costs to a program of action, but they are far less than the long-range risks and costs of comfortable inaction. There's just something about the status quo that is literally intoxicating. You don't want to move. You don't want to put things at risk. You want to keep things as they are. And I get it. Change is scary. Change may be one of the single most paralyzing elements that we as humans face. That in your space, in that little area that you've carved out for yourself, it may be small and it may keep you less than you could be, but god damn it, does it feel good? Because it's safe. Because you know your enemies, you know where everything is at, you know all the things that you need to know to feel comfortable. But in that comfort is a world that shrinks around you, is a world that literally is forcing you to confine yourself to the size of that box. It's making you only as big as the space that you've allowed yourself. So whatever change you refuse to embrace, not only does it freeze you in time, but it stunts your growth. And if you want to become something, that is literally the act of changing. It is literally the act of rebirth, of making yourself something new. But in that, you must face the terror of change. You must face that you may fail. You must face that you may embarrass yourself. You have to face that in the unknown could be the worst. But unless you're able to do that, you'll never get to taste the vastness of living outside the box, that merely having a life that isn't confined is in and of itself far more interesting and beautiful than anything could ever be when it is locked in one place. When you have a box that has no windows, your world can be nothing but a wall. But when you have a window, when you have a door, that becomes an entryway into something completely new. And as Pablo Picasso said, action is the fundamental key to all success. So if you want to succeed, if you want something more for your life, you have to be willing to walk through that door. And if you're in a box that has no door, then you've got to be willing to kick one open. You've got to be willing to claw through feet of concrete if that's what it takes to get on the other side. But you've got to be willing to push yourself out of that comfort zone to find out what could be, to take control of your destiny and realize the fundamental human truth Only you control what you can be. And if you want to escape, the one thing you need is belief. And as Phil Knight said, belief is irresistible. Once you believe that you can act in accordance with something that will actually help move you forward, once you believe to the core of your being that there is no one better suited to building the life of your dreams than you, then suddenly safety becomes the least safe thing that you could do. Suddenly, being in a space that is so narrowly defined is the only thing that's going to choke the life out of you. So the only real risk is not to have faith in yourself. The only real risk is to stay put. The only real risk is to play it safe. So my friends, find that belief in yourself. Take that risk. Act. Move. Do something. Define a new life. Build a new you. That's the key to success.